mistakes, Gabrielle. Xena's fate is in your hands.
We knew at the end of the third season that Gabrielle was going to sacrifice herself to try and finally kill Hope, her daughter, once and for all.
A lot of stuff to tell there at the end. We knew where we wanted to get with that episode. We wanted to leave a question mark to bring the fans back for the next season.
I was going to work on a story in the next season, and I already knew. I'd just gotten this image in my head of Xena coming home to Gabrielle's home and seeing Gabrielle's parents sitting there with Gabrielle, but it wasn't Gabrielle, it was Hope. And that was sort of the seed of what became Family Affair, a story I did with Chris Mannheim.
So we wanted to start to bring full circle the idea of the Twilight of the Gods.
I'm all misty-eyed.
We wanted to bring more out about Ares.
I don't.
We wanted to facilitate the end of the world.
But in the course of Sacrifice, the notion of Hope and Ares sleeping together and there being the demon spawn, this horrible, monstrous child of that relationship, which I had no idea was going to be a part of this other story. So it was very serendipitous that we ended up developing this story in a way that then became the whole second part of, you know, an episode that was just percolating at that point.
To me, it was a bit like Carrie, you know, you had the objects flying around. But as we went further into the character of Hope, I found it extremely frustrating because I was so limited in having to play a character that was trying to be Gabrielle, and it was sort of convoluted, and I just wanted to have her wear a different outfit or wear a different headband and really play with that sort of icy cold person. But the best parts were playing Hope and having little snide looks when Xena wasn't looking or something, trying to find ways to show the audience that this is Hope, not Gabrielle. Every science fiction show has their evil doubles, you know, so this is my turn to play.
This way. I'm right behind you.
Hope was so incredibly manipulative. She was always scheming and trying to find a way to destroy Xena and yet gain the love of her mother, Gabrielle. And so she hated both of them because they basically created her existence.
Strange. The one I love most in all the world and the one I hate look exactly the same.
We just thought, well, what happens if we're faced with the end of the world and the face is someone that we like? Which, of course, was supposed to be the surprise ending to the first part, which was that Hope looks identical to Gabrielle. Putting Xena in the position of saying, you know, the worst enemy of humanity is the face of my best friend.
Release those people or you'll be sorry. Who are you? Joxer the Mighty. Never heard of you. Step aside.
In that episode, I have a very small part. It was kind of nice, actually. I remember I was feeling pretty worn down and getting sick, and I remember thinking, for the first time, oh good, I don't have much to do here. Not because I'm a lazy guy, on the contrary, I love to work hard, but I remember getting sick and thinking I was glad that I didn't have much to do. You know, I remember going on the set, I hadn't worked for 4 days, I got on the set and do the scene, you know, Xena here, I throw the knife, and cut. Okay, that's a wrap on Ted Raimi. Thank you very much, you know, and okay, that's it. Then I went home. It was the easiest TV filming I ever had in my life.
One of the great things about Xena was her nemesis always had a personal bent. With Callisto, in season 3, she went out of the way to poison the well and the waters in as many ways as she could for Xena. Everyone was surprised when Gabrielle threw herself into the pit. Callisto was delighted by that, knowing that Xena would suffer.
I found that scene to be very difficult to do, the laughing part right after Gabrielle had killed her daughter and killed herself. It was hard to go to a laughing phase and to bring those lines up because it didn't feel organic. But she needed Xena while she had the dagger and she was in her fury. And in her sadness, this was Callisto's last chance, perfect opportunity to finally die. So she had to take it and run with it.
I never thought I'd feel so good again. Seeing poor dear Gabrielle sacrifice herself makes it all worthwhile. It finally gives me a reason for living, and I have you to thank for it, Xena.
The question is at the end. Who won? Was Xena manipulated, or did she actually get one up on Callisto? The way Hudson played Callisto's reaction, there's a bit of a smile. I thought to myself, there are two ways to look at this, and both of them are absolutely valid. One is that Callisto manipulated Xena and got her to stab her, and the smile on her face is, aha, I win. The other side of it is just the opposite. She did not expect Xena to kill her. She really wanted to live, but there was that smile of like, oh my gosh, Xena, I love you. You are so darn smart. And I thought to myself, that's great. It gives the audience the option to discuss this. Even though it wasn't intentionally meant to be played that way, the way Hudson played it, it gave it that ambiguity, which I really liked. In my personal opinion, Xena got one up on her.
It's not written in stone, but I think she was actually surprised. I don't think she really expected Xena to do that.
When Xena killed her with the hind's blood, that's exactly what Callisto wanted. That's what she was hoping for the whole time. That movement where I touch her face and slide down her body, I think was a perfect ending and a perfect thank you. Even though I don't think Xena did it on purpose, I think it was compassionate.
It was a nice touch. She did it so, you know, she'll do it so beautifully, and you'll see that hand get traced down, and it's like it's a long goodbye. Because if she had just dropped out of sight, there would have been no poetry in that, no visual poetry. It was a scene of horror and beauty and tenderness, violence, gratitude, hatred, relief.
There was a lot accomplished in that particular episode. The primary thing, though, was that it was our season ender. How can we set up many threads that can be resolved in the first episode? It was a really challenging two-parter, and keeping it alive for that much time, that's a credit to our production crew and to our director. Really an incredible job to keep the pace going on it.